Hi, 24-hour beery people. My lady friend went to Trillium yesterday and got one of their newest hoppy beers, the Little Rooster. It's a little picture on the can. It was canned, I think, exactly a week ago. The first batch they released. They did something called Little Rooster a couple years ago in a very small batch, but I don't think it's what this one is. This is part of their small bird series that has names like Pocket Pigeon and Tiny Chicken, and all these are pale ales that are a little bit smaller in stature than their Fort Point series, which are kind of basically IPAs. This is 5.8% alcohol. It uses Galaxy and Nelson Sauvin hops. Two of probably the big two from the Southern Hemisphere: Galaxy Australia and Nelson from New Zealand. And instead of using wheat in this beer, they use a little bit of oats. I mean, of course, it's mostly two-row barley. I think maybe with these lower alcohol ones, they try to put some oats in there to add to the mouthfeel a little bit or something like that. And my girlfriend already took half of this can, and I'm starting to smell it, so I want to get it in here while I can. And we've had it in the fridge for since she got it yesterday. Ooh, real hazy. Wow, my glass is not super beer clean, unfortunately. And this is a pretty narrow glass. You cannot see anything through there. That's interesting, because I think I got their launch pale ale that was a similar alcohol content, but that one was only translucent. This is just as opaque as like Fort Point and their bigger IPAs. It smells really nice. That's a really good combination of fruit and resinous dank green hops. It doesn't smell exactly like juice. There's a little bit of a kind of minerality to it in there. It's a pretty big aroma for a beer of this stature, also. Head sticking around. It's a little bit thinner than Fort Point, but it's better than the launch beer. The launch beer, I think, had a little bit of a thinner head to it. But I'm getting a little bit of a white grape thing, along with lots of slightly juicy, maybe unripe tropical fruits. Sort of unripe pineapple. But not too much of the intense green resinous quality. Just a little hint of it on there. And the aroma. It's not vegetal at all, really. But I want to sip it. Ooh, that's very nice. Wow, that's really good. A lot of dry peachy pineapple flavors with just a little bit of that almost smoky greenness I noticed in there, but it's pretty fruit forward, fruity, kind of minerally, a lot like some sort of Orangina or the Pellegrino fruit flavored sweetened sparkling waters. Really nice, not much bitterness, very dry, but I think having it be so unfiltered and using the oats prevented it being what people might call watery, I guess. There is a little bit of a body to it, but it's super dry and refreshing. And a little bit of a sharp, slightly woody bitterness in the finish, slightly astringent, but not too much. It's the perfect amount that makes it really dry and refreshing. And it's like the perfect beer for July. I'm really glad they started releasing these little bird beers for the summer. Yeah, it's not your normal Mosaic and Citra, like marshmallowy passion fruit cake almost vanilla frosting sort of sweetness. I think this is how it really sets up the Southern Hemisphere hops away from the Northern Hemisphere. It's this one doesn't have those, even though it has a lot of the same fruits as Mosaic and Citra. It's just a different kind of greenness, different kind of resinous, different quality of bitterness. I'm not getting any garlic or oniony flavors or aromas, which is nice. This is a pretty different flavor combo than I've had. I don't know if I've had any beers that only used Galaxy and Nelson in them. And there's still a little bit of a cap ahead sticking around because it's so hoppy. Maybe it reminds me kind of Bissell Brothers Reciprocal. That's their IPA with only Southern Hemisphere hops. Oh yeah, and also Trillium didn't mention Columbus in their description of this beer, and usually they bitter all their hoppy beers with Columbus. So maybe they actually used some Galaxy and Nelson for the bittering, which makes sense because it seems like it has a little bit different quality of bitterness than most Trillium beers. It's not as like smooth of a bitterness. I've noticed that with Galaxy, at least, is when you use that as a primary bittering hop, it can be a little harsh and woody. But in a beer like this where they didn't try to bitter it so much and it's lower alcohol, it comes off as like a nice woody, minerally, refreshing sort of flavor. It has, I guess, a little bit of that kind of grapefruit mineral finish, like a Sauvignon Blanc wine, which is, of course, what these Southern Hemisphere hops are always compared to, is Sauvignon Blanc. And it's definitely got that going on. Definitely white grapey grapefruit. A little bit of orange juice, of course, is in here, like all these delicious Trillium beers. But a very nice clean finish. But it's definitely pulling off the juiciness and a small stature here very, very well. I'm surprised I'm not really getting much of the green pepper Nelson. Sometimes with Nelson I get a lot of almost like charred jalapeno. This one has that a little bit. That's probably what the bitterness and greenness is in this one. It's more of that slight bell peppery sort of thing happening. Yeah, I'm noticing that now, sort of in the heat of my mouth. It reminds me of a freshly chewed pepper sensation. It's that kind of greenness rather than being super dank or oniony or something like that. Which works really well. This is kind of tastes like a fruit and vegetable smoothie. That's a good way to describe this one. And they did a really good job with it. It might be one of the better small bird beers they've made. I think did I review another one recently? Maybe did I do Pocket Pigeon? I can't remember. Or maybe I did Tiny Chicken. I like Tiny Chicken. I'll have to look back at my tasting notes. But this is really nice. But it's also a really nice, unique combo of hops, and they did it really well. So I give it like maybe like a 88. It's pretty far up there. I like it a lot. So we'll do 87 or 88 for Little Rooster from Trillium. See ya!